He's got an amazing special on Netflix, New Day.
And I don't even have a driver's license. And I had to drive the truck, stop, take the key out. I think I tried that like 7 times. Neil Britton, but he was like, yo, we ain't gonna be doing this all day. We might have to cut this. And out of frustration, I said, I'm rich, bitch! If the worst thing you can say about me is that you're ugly, then I wanna know if I'm ugly, then who you think is fine?
People really think that you and Charlamagne got beef.
Katt Williams aired everybody out. Guess what? Ticket sales went crazy. So it's advantage to him, but what does it do for our community? You got comments out here, you see it one time, you just see them for the rest of their career. If you see me in 21, you're gonna see a new set. If you see me in 22, you're gonna see a new set. I flip my set. And you say out your mouth, Dave Chappelle's openers suck. I don't know how y'all gonna bleep this but do it. So I'm gonna let you talk. You set it off.
What up, what up, what up? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we want to thank you for joining us for another edition of the Charles Coleman Podcast. I'm super excited about this conversation we got lined up for you today. I mean, we've had a lot of people on the couch. You already know, I don't want to go through the list of guests, but none more special than our guest today. But before we get started, make sure you are logged in, that you are sharing, you are liking, that you are following the Charles Coleman Podcast on Pandora, Spotify, Instagram, Amazon, everywhere we all the way up, just like air. And before we get started, I gotta give a super big shout out to one of our sponsors, Alpha Clothing. They made me this suit. I told y'all before they made the 7 Cities sweatshirt that I wore when I had the conversation with Eddie Murphy's cousin. Yeah, when we did that. Well, this was the suit that I told you they was making me, the special suit that I wore for a special conversation. Alpha Clothing, that's ALFA Clothing. 718 born, 757 bred. They do dope stuff and they're a black-owned business. So support them, give them a shout out. They gave me this work and it got me looking right. I had to, get on the couch looking good because our guest today deserved that. And without further ado, it gives me super duper great pleasure to welcome to the couch. You already know him. You already love him. He is super widely known. But now he's really, really in the spotlight because he's got an amazing special on Netflix, New Day, feeling good. Please welcome Donnell Rawlings to the couch. My man, my mellow. Thank you so much.
I don't know about that intro, man. I don't know what type of podcast it is, but you started with ladies and gentlemen and boys and girls. These streets is too hot to be saying boys and girls.
I try to be inclusive.
I'll stay with the ladies and gentlemen. This will be cut back 10 years ago, and then they started talking about boys and girls, and I knew that's when they was down with that Diddy. Oops.
Nah. We've talked about the Diddy man more than enough, but you're well taken. I just try to be inclusive. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks for having me.
Nah, thanks for being here. Word. So let's just get right into it. Your new special.
Yes.
I've seen it. Mm-hmm. It is hilarious. Shout out to your tailor because that blue suit was popping.
La Contento. Jamie, what's the name of it? La Contento out of Brooklyn, New York.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it up because you know what I'm saying. It was fitting you right. It was like
it was perfect. It wasn't court suit.
Yeah,
it wasn't funeral suit.
You look comfortable.
Yeah, I look very comfortable.
But you look sharp.
Usually when a brother wears a suit, it's like this. He borrowed it from somebody. Somebody died, man. I need a black suit, and that same black suit they switched the tie up. But I'm telling you, man, I just got introduced to. If you want to say a bespoken situation about 2 years ago. And I was a guy, as a performer, I was like, man, I ain't never wearing no suit. I'm not going to feel comfortable. But the minute you get into a tailored suit, it's a game changer. And then a response the streets give to you.
Right.
But you know you're looking good when brothers like walking around with that tight ass suit.
Yeah.
Anytime a brother disrespects your outfit, you like, I'm winning.
I did it. I get it. When I'm on MSNBC and I come with the work, people have the same reaction. So I understand that I identify with it. But no, he was clean, brother.
And you got to own it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, and you stomp your feet and let people know this is where I'm at. It's a new day.
So this was a long day. This was a long time coming for you.
The special?
With the special because you originally filmed during COVID, right?
We was like right at the heels of COVID. It was like, well, one of the reasons why it came about, me and Dave have been, we toured together for years, but a lot of times when we do shows, when I'm on the stage, he's in his green room, he don't really get a chance to really focus on me. But when we were doing our outdoor shows during the pandemic in the cornfields, it was more of a connection, like the green room was like right by the stage. Mm-hmm. So like every night he got a chance to see what I've been doing for years. And most people would think that I came to Dave, Dave, could you please give me a special? it wasn't that at all because I keep our friendship. I don't really talk too much business with him, what we can do. You know, after we stopped doing the Chappelle show, we really never really talked about any future projects. And one day he said, Donnie, I want to produce your special. Would you let me do it? I was like, I don't know. I got a long list of people. I was like, hell yeah, I'll let you do it, right? So I had to get cocky, son. You can't just be like, I can't wait to do it, Dave. You be like, I don't know. Let my people call your people. And that time, my people wasn't working, so I was my people. You know what? No managers was getting no money. No agents was getting no money. So we about 2 years ago, we found this spot because the toughest thing was to find a space would even have us because of all the COVID restrictions. So we found the Fillmore Theater in Charlotte, North Carolina. People was like, why did you choose Charlotte for a place to do a special? I was like, because it was the only place open. You know what I mean? It could have been Kalamazoo, Missouri or Michigan. Michigan, I would have did that. So we did the special, and it was tough because we still had all these COVID restrictions, you know, all this protocol. So the venue we had, it holds like 800 people, and we had a packed, on the book, we had a packed house. But after Netflix said, no, you can't come in, where's a vaccination card? Can't come in. It went from 800 capacity to like 350, which means we had to put a black curtain on it. So we had a strike against us already with that. But at the same time, I wasn't really making no money. I'm like, yo, we're going to get this right. So the first show we did, I thought it was funny. You know what I'm saying? Of course, I think it could have been better in regard to the attendance or whatever. And Dave was like, well, you know, if we don't get it right on this trip, we can shoot it again. I was like, I want that check now. He was trying to put it down. I was like, the whole year I hadn't made no money. People always say, well, you have money, it's not a big deal, but nobody wants to see money leaving without money coming in.
Of course, you don't,
So the first stab we did, I did a good job with that. Then the second one, I caught a zone. At the end of it, Stan Lathan, shout out to Stan Lathan, shout out to Ricky Hughes. They were the two forces behind this, and Dave Chappelle. At the end of the second set, I had ripped it. I got a standing ovation, chest bump stand, gave everybody a high five, and I'm like, oh, we got this. Maybe I think 3 weeks after that, because the whole special was a series that Dave was doing. It's called A Home Team.
Okay.
First out the gate was Earthquake, Dennis Lunell, Tony Woods shot one similar same time of mine. So we had made an announcement that these new series of specials coming out, produced by Dave. Like we were already going to press. Like I'm like, man, I got a special coming out. And then maybe a month after that, I was in Baltimore about to go on stage, and Dave called me and said, man, I want to talk to you. I was like, what's up? He said, and I could just hear him. He was like, I'm like, what? He was like, I want to shoot your special again. And I was like, for like a minute of silence. He was like, hello? Hello? I'm like, what? He was like, hello? I was like, what do you mean you want to shoot it again? Because when a comedian hears you want to shoot it again, the first thing you're going to think, was it not funny enough?
Was it funny?
That's the first thing you're going to think. And I asked him, I said, how did I go from getting a standing O to everybody excited to you want to shoot it again? And he said, Donnell, you're like one of the funniest comics in the country. He said, I can put you in front of any audience and you'll rip the audience. But he said, but that doesn't make it a great special. And I didn't know how to take that. And then he was like, and I was like, what do you mean? He was like, well, it was a lot of COVID jokes, which would have made it dated. Like if you would have turned that on right now and you see masks everywhere, you would immediately started thinking about 2020. You know, then at the same time, when he told me that the check had cleared, so I was open to listen. I was like, the money in the bank, and nobody getting it back. Y'all got to sue me for this one, right? So he explained that. Then he said, Donald, I've seen you do these jokes better than this. I said, but Dave, I've seen you do jokes better than what you presented in your special, but that was the moment we were in. Right. So I didn't make an argument because I knew he was adamant about not wanting to put it out. So that time passed. I'm like, I don't really know when we're going to get a chance to shoot it again. Maybe a year later, we were in Napa Valley doing some shows. And whenever he does his shows, he always tapes everything. You know what I mean? He's going to have a catalog and an archive deeper than Tupac. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Tupac still got a new album coming out next year, right? And he definitely protecting his legacy and giving some stuff for his kids to do whatever they want with it. So we were in Napa Valley, And Ricky Hughes me, Ricky, and Dave were behind stage. And Dave asked Ricky, he said, how many cameras do you have here today? She said, I got 5. He looks at me and says, do you want to shoot your special? I said, when? He said, tomorrow. Right? And at first I was like, well, I don't have a suit or red socks on me, right? So I knew I had to get the outfit right. But then I was like, I thought it to be a challenge. But what made me feel comfortable about it was that I didn't have the spectacle of inviting my family. This is a big deal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that, the pressure of like, not just performing for an audience, but for everybody else. And I like the idea that nobody knew we were going to make an attempt at it. So everybody treated it like a regular show. They didn't treat it like Netflix presents. It was just like one of those shows where if we get it, we get it. And we nailed it. Banged it out, ripped it. I was like, I even called Robbie Praw. Robbie Praw is the guy that basically the one that writes the checks and gives a green light. And I called him. I was like, man, I don't know if I'm supposed to tell you. I said, but we got it. I was like, what? I said, we shot the special yesterday. He was like, well, I want to see it. So 2 weeks passed. Dave called me again. I want to shoot your special again. I'm like, what is going on, bro? And I was like, why? He said, I didn't really like the production. And I was like, it was your production.
Right.
But he is so into getting it right. And he said, if you want to put it out, we can. He said, I didn't like the way the lighting was set up, but I knew we wasn't have a set dressed. I knew it, and I thought like this, okay, my mindset was Richard Pryor live at Sunset Strip.
Okay.
Wasn't a crazy production. If anything, black screen, spotlight, a stool, wired mic, that's it.
Right.
And the focus wasn't on lights and all that. The focus was on the comedy. And I even like, even the way I was dressed, and then me being specific that I wanted to court, I was like, let's take it back to that vibe. But then he said, well, there's people moving around, getting up and down. I said, well, if you remember live at Sunset Strip, one of the biggest jokes when Richard Pryor, that he was on stage and the white people left and they came back, he said, look, white people came back like, where's my seat? I was like, let it be like authentic. But he was like, no. Then he told me, he said, out of everybody I'm producing, there's no slight on Linnell, Tony, or Earthquake. He said, you are the one that's most connected to the Chappelle brand. You are the most anticipated out of everyone on this rollout. And he said, and if we're gonna do it, I wanna do something that's evergreen and classic. So that was 2 stabs at it, right? And
now, real quick, at this point, when he calls you and says for the second time you want to shoot it tomorrow, where had you like worked out that material?
That's another thing with the first one. It was tough for me because I would do 5 shows a weekend, right? Doing 45 minutes to an hour. Yeah. That's a very good question. But during the pandemic, it wasn't no stages to perform.
Exactly.
So I had to work it out was in the cornfields, 15 minutes here. And I had to work stuff out on when we were doing outdoor shows, the pickup, the movie theater type of vibe. I didn't have the traditional playing field where I'm doing it. So basically, I had to just practice a 15-minute set here, 15-minute set here, and then trust me enough to know I could put it together on the spot. So, you made me lose thought of the thing.
So he tells you now I want to shoot it again.
We went past that, and then this time it was like, I looked at the schedule. Our dates didn't match up, but I was a part of the New York Comedy Festival.
Okay.
So I said, I know how to make this easy. This is a beautiful venue, untapped. Nobody's ever shot anything in there. I said, why don't you bring these cameras in there and we do it there? So we did it. That was like November the 9th. And when I look back at it in retrospect.
You had your blue suit and your Red Sox.
I had that ready. You know what I'm saying? I had that ready. But everything he said made sense. You know what I'm saying? Like if he said, we want this special to be special. And now you look at it right now, like the market is saturated with wax specials.
Yeah.
And it's not, a lot of times when you see somebody with special, it's not a person that you've seen come up. It's not a person that you think it was supposed to be their time. It's usually somebody like, all right, we need a one-legged, like what's popping now, one-legged strippers. You know what I'm saying? It's like, give it up for Miss Hip Hop, and then it's because of that's the fad of what's going
Miss
on.
Hip Hop is crazy.
Miss Hip Hop, she's really hip hop. But with this one, I just felt that it was a good time. I think that when I shot it, I was the best at what I do. I think that the streets really wanted it, because before this special, my career was already popping. I'm not saying in a cocky way, and that came from like years of doing it, like not just one particular show, but like going to the comedy clubs like every year, like doing material,
Yeah.
like building that grassroots following. And I think that people, even when they watch this, people were cheering for me.
Well,
You know?
one thing I felt about it was, you come out to the Nina Simone, you've really leaned into that theme, which I think is, it's a new day, and I'm feeling good.
And it costs money too.
Oh, I can't even.
If you know the business,
the first time I watched it, I said,
was like, they put some money.
I said,
like,
they cleared that? That the first thing I watched, I said, they cleared that? Like, because he used that longer than 8 seconds. That's not just
no, it was like, and even when it came down to it, like coming up with the name of it, because I had been coming out to that song on the road for like a year. So it was resonate with me.
Got you.
But then I was like, okay, why don't I do this? First off, usually when I perform, I used to come out to some hard hip hop, something that's banging. I came out to French Montana, ain't worried about nothing. Used to scare the hell out of white people. Yo, I used to be like, nigga, I ain't worried about nothing. Then I put the mic, they be like, I got a couple of concerns. I don't know if I want to say that. So for me to switch that style up from like call and response fire, I said, Donnell, maybe you should go for something that's more theatrical, more classic. So like people was bugging out because when I was doing these shows, especially these arena shows, they would introduce me. They'll be like, you seen them on the wire, you get a couple claps. You seen them on the corner, clap, whatever. But when they say, but you fell in love when it was Ashy Larry for the Chappelle show, I'm talking about we did arenas like 25,000 people standing up. And then go from that music to that energy to birds flying high. Like when it was eerie, where it went from like, then like, what the hell is going on? To quiet. And then I'd be in the back in the tunnel and you could hear my voice sing along with it. And then I'd be like, when I say, and when I come out that tunnel, man, it was feeling like Mike Tyson was coming out for a fight. But I had to stay in the pocket for that, something totally that I never do. And I was like, that'd probably be pricey to try to get that. And I had told Dave I wanted to do it. You got to remember, this is technically the third time going at it. So I don't want to keep hitting people in the head with money. I'm like, they about to say, we can't do this. And then when we were talking about that song, he called me, he said, how connected are you that connected to the song and why? I said, I'm connected to that song because I've been rocking with it for a year. I'm connected with it because when I first talked to you about it, you liked the song. You made me feel comfortable to even ask to use the song. And then I was like, I don't want to spend your money. And because he got enough money, he was like, don't even worry about the money. Right? And then he told me, he said it's 60,000, right? I was like, yo.
Don't worry about the money.
I was like, I can take that. Maybe we can get a remix or a karaoke version or something, right?
Right.
But he was so adamant about putting the best thing out. He's hit that and it just played. And the crazy thing on the special, when we were working together, he said, Donnell, you worry about the body, the jokes, and let me do the bells and whistles. Yeah. And I was like, all right. And I wanted to be involved with everything. So I was trying to think of an intro. I couldn't connect. And then he hit me, he said, I got a good idea. I said, what? And he's the one that came up with the idea. I feel like I got something in my nose. I don't want nobody to think I got drugged or anything. Because if you hit your nose twice, they'll be like, he on that shit. Right? I got long nose hairs. But anyway, so he was the one that came up with the idea. And I thought it was dope because for him to come with the idea, he realized what's important to me, what I care about.
Right.
That opening scene was just chilling and just seeing my son. He knows how much I care about my son.
Yeah.
To go from like, I'm looking at my son in a way.
Shout out to Austin.
Yeah, Austin. I love you, son. But in a way where it's like, okay, now this guy's buckling up, he's suited up, and he going out to do what he loves to do. And I tell everybody, I was like, if you watch this special, I even told him on the timeline, I said at 35 seconds, if you're not on some then you don't have a heart.
You don't get it.
You know?
I think one of the things about it is when I watched it, you clearly have a premise that you stick with from the opening, which is why that story about staying with the song is so powerful, because it sets the stage from a premise standpoint in terms of pretty much every joke you tell and the stories you tell and how you sort of go through your set. You looked really relaxed. You looked really comfortable. Like, in a way, when I watched it, and I want to encourage everybody else who hasn't watched it, when you watch this, pay attention. What I saw when I watched the special was somebody who was like, I've waited for this moment. I'm ready for this moment. This is my time.
Yeah.
And it was like, this is my time. This is my stage. This is my audience. These are my jokes. And you're just going to get it. And it wasn't like I'm forcing it down your throat.
Right.
It was like, this is just what it is.
Somebody
and I feel
made
good
a
about
good,
it.
say the compliment. One of my good friends been following me for years. She said, that is the most Donnell I've seen Donnell be.
You seem very much so, not having met you before, but you seem very much so, I'm in control of my environment. And this is just what it is.
That was what it looked like, but on the inside, it was a lot going through my head. That was the second taping. The first one I did that day, I nailed it, but I didn't connect with it. The audience connected with it, but I was just like, I know it's something else that I can offer. I just didn't feel like I was Donnell. I felt like I had it by the book and what I needed. But I was like, it's a gear. Like, even like the part when, I don't want to tell the whole thing, but me doing a callback to I'm feeling good, and and the way I did it, that was in the moment. And I told myself, Donnell, don't stick to your script that much. Allow yourself, the reason why you're here is because you're naturally funny. I said, so try to make this feel like a comedy club, no pressure.
Yeah.
Then to add the stuff. Me and I'm feeling good, and then the callbacks, that happened in the moment. But I was floating by then. And I was like this, we're not shooting this again. We're not. And I was like, they were gonna have to sue me. Because I'm like, how many times am I gonna do this? But I think that we captured it. And comedy is very subjective to your style of comedy, what you like. And I told everybody, I don't want the press to be like, is this the funniest stand-up you ever seen? Because people are super critical. I said, whatever it is, I know it feels good. And that's what I wanted.
That's what you want.
And if you know it feels good, then that'll transfer to it being funny. And people are loving it now.
Well, definitely got to check it out. If you have not seen it, if you've seen it before, see it again. We want to put this thing as high up on Netflix's new comedy. And as long as it's on Netflix, we want it as high up as it can be. So make sure you check that out. Got to shift gears. Still talking comedy. I'm a student of comedy. I am not a funny dude. I am a student of comedy. So
You probably funny at like Thanksgiving and around the house as people amp you up like you should do it.
No, they don't do that. But they'll
Yeah, they do.
laugh.
I don't know what you said. You said I ain't no comedian, but if you get a couple laughs, I know in your mind like, you know what? Maybe I'll give it a shot.
I'm a nerd, so I appreciate like the art of comedy. I appreciate having a premise, having a joke, setting a setup, timing, a callback. I appreciate someone who can construct a good joke and tell a good story. That's how I evaluate it.
And all of this is a new day if you go to Netflix. But go ahead.
Right? Like it's from a technical standpoint. Other people may not give a fuck. They just want to laugh. But from a technical standpoint, I'm like, this was really sound. I'm watching it. I'm like, okay, nice setup. And I'm looking at the time and I'm like, well done. But I gotta ask you, the situation with Corey.
God damn, how do we get?
You know it was coming. Come on, we talking comedy.
I can say, it feel like you was just doing that other shit just to get.
Bro, we talking comedy.
He was like, so when you and Dave, man, so what happened? The nigga pulled up on you, you pulled up on him.
We talking comedy. So here's the thing. Let me just start this.
Before we even get into this is something I do not want to talk about, but I address it in a way where it's not about Corey, it's about the state of comedy.
Well, that's where I want to go.
Yeah.
That's actually where I want to go. And I'm glad you said that because in terms of framing it, that's
because
really,
people just watching this down talking about Corey who. But anyway, go ahead.
That's really how I wanted to frame it.
I mean, I can't say Corey who. Huh?
For those of you, I'm going to say it. Corey Holcomb, back and forth.
How come?
How?
Oh, I'm saying, what does it say?
Holcomb. Corey
How
Holcomb.
come? How come?
Okay. So
I'll just leave it at how come.
So in any event,
that's a good question.
So in any event,
How come? And I didn't want to talk about this shit, man. I came here to sit down and talk about the theories of comedy and when I first started with this premise, I go back years,
Right.
and I could saw how come in your eyes. It was in your eyes. You look nervous like a hostage motherfucker. Like, blink 2 times if you know how come. How come he ain't sitting on this couch?
oh,
How come he ain't ranked on Netflix? How come he ain't in movies? How come the only platform where he's credible is on his punk-ass platform? How come you got to beef with a man that you want to bring somebody's family in? How come? Everybody told me not to talk about this shit no more. Everybody, don't do it. You take the low road. People quote me talking about, you got to do like Michelle Obama. When they go high, we go low. But I'm a low nigga. When anybody know me be high unless it's smoking weed? I am not no above and beyond. I can get grimy with you, but it's not your moment. How come? It's mine. And the reason why it's mine is because I put the motherfucking work in. I didn't sit behind a laptop or a camera and criticize and judge the people that I work with. I didn't do that. I don't do that. Guess how I fight? On the stage, only in comedy, that you got people that's in the business being critical of people that's in the same fucking business as them. Basketball, they don't do that. Football, they don't do that. You know what they do? Let me say this. You know what they do? They wait till they retire, they become analysts, and then they talk shit about people. And guess what else they do? I'm gonna let you talk. You set it off. You started it just exactly what you wanted. All right, you want controversy? We got controversy. He was looking at me with these punk ass answers and shit like, man, what the fuck is going on with 5150? Fuck them. All right? That's what I want to say. Not only in comedy. You got basketball players. You think Michael Jordan liked anybody he played against, but he wasn't saying who was bums on the court. He wasn't saying that. You know what he do? He take it on the court. And guess what? If you want to beef with me or if you want to fight with me, let's take it to the stage. That's it.
The one sort of analogy that I had as I was thinking about this, and you kind of left it open, is hip hop. Because hip hop's competitive. And hip hop, you will say, this nigga's trash.
Right.
This MC's whack. Has comedy reached that place? And is it okay? Is there any sort of,
the thing is now, it's so easy. Like a lot of people coming from podcast world, right? Podcast world. What people now doing is like they selling controversy.
Yeah.
They want to sell controversy. That gets to the most engagement. That's what people click on. I'm not that. I'm old school. I want to sell jokes. You know what I'm saying? Even when I say it, even about this is a topic, especially when I do these platforms, it's hard to get away from it, but it's stupid and foolish to me. You know what I'm saying? And the thing that, even with this situation, and I don't have a bad thing to say about him. You know what I'm saying?
How come?
Because the reason why I don't play that way. I'm not no motherfucker. I'm not gonna go up in there and say, oh, you ugly. I'm not gonna be like, oh, you fat or nothing like this. I don't want to talk like that. Let's talk like this. Let's go pound for pound. If you want to fight me, let's go resume for resume. If you want to talk about, let's go experience. Let's talk about some real shit. But you judging me and how I look and everything, that's petty.
Corny.
That's corny as hell. And if you got a problem with me, if the worst thing you could say about me is that you're ugly, then I want to know if I'm ugly, then who you think is fine? Since you judging men,
well,
since you're judging men, okay, how come? Who's pretty? Somebody has to be pretty to you. If I'm ugly Larry, somebody has to be pretty to you. And here's another thing of revelation. I know I ain't a fine nigga. At the age of 16, I looked in the mirror and said, you're gonna have to do something with this face. You're gonna have to have money or you're gonna have to have fame, because this face ain't gonna get me everything I need. I knew what it was. I do a goddamn joke about wanting to be fine. I didn't want to be funny. I wanted to be fine. I wanted to have a light-skinned energy. I wanted to laugh like your producers in the background that I've been knowing for years. Y'all know the look he got there. I was stuck with this face. What, you want to have a beauty contest with me? How come? We're going to put both our faces there and see who the cutest. I don't give a fuck about that. Who the funniest?
Gary Owens got at you for saying.
Gary Owens ain't get at me.
Well,
Gary
what he
Owens,
said was.
first off, none of these.
What he said was.
Man, fuck off. Listen, let me say this. These niggas cannot get at me.
Okay.
Get at everybody else. There is not any name that comes out of your mouth is going to say something fucked up about me or say I'm not nice on the mic. And if anybody goes outside of that, they identify themselves as a hater. It's a sentence you could use where everybody know they're a hater. Donnell is corny. That's the N-word for comedy. Donnell is corny. He not funny. If you say that, you identify yourself as a hater. And if somebody says I'm not funny, he's good in movies or skits or whatever, the reason why they say that, because they haven't seen me do live stand-up comedy.
Right.
Anybody that hasn't seen me do live, any motherfucker, for 30 years plus that have seen me do comedy, you got a handful of motherfuckers that could say they saw me bomb. And if they saw me bomb, it wasn't all my fault. They saw me bomb because I'm in a fucking hood-ass spot with no lights. The microphone is 2 feet. I'm trapped in a corner. Yeah. They're selling margaritas. But they sell, I know, I've been in them clubs. I do them clubs. So how y'all doing? You want a strawberry margarita? You seen that. But in front of a live audience, going for it, all you're going to hear is stories like, I've been watching this dude for years and years and years. And we talk about a person with a 30-year career. 30 years. Every year, for 30 years, I feel like I get better.
Yeah, as you should.
No, but a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people, here go to Pussy and the Money Comics. They got a good 10-year run, right? They got one set. And I ain't gonna say no names, but this motherfuckers out here that's cheating the audiences every time they go see him. I like this dude, but he don't got no new jokes.
Yeah.
I like him, but he doing the same shit. You got comics out here, you see him one time, you just see them for the rest of their career. Guaranteed, anybody that come to see me, if you see me at the Carolines, in 2019, if you see me in 20, you're gonna see a new set. If you see me in 21, you're gonna see a new set. If you see me in 22, you're gonna see a new set. I flip my set. That's why I put it like this. The most people that's talking shit about me, they can't outwork me. They cannot outwork me on no level. You want to take your fucking punk ass fans in an audience that you feel familiar with, you started with, stick with them. But difference with me is that I went outside of that. I love the hood. I came from the most gutter fucking rooms you could do, but I said, I got my people. This ain't enough. I want validation. This is not me saying the white man saying this. I want to make everybody laugh. When I started in New York, doing all the ghetto rooms and these places like the Comedy Cellar, the Comic Strip, all these places where they said the best comics work, I didn't want to work in them clubs just to say, hey, I'm over here. I was like, all right, where the best comedians perform? At the Cellar, I want to be in the Cellar. I was one of the first black, when I used to do the Cellar, it was 4 or 5 black comics working the Cellar. Dave Chappelle was one, Greer Barnes was another, Keith Robinson, and my guy, he passed away. He used to, William, I feel so bad, I can't remember his name. It was 5 niggas. I was one of them. I would go over there and do the white boy shit and then go do the hood shit. Because I told myself, you're not going to put me in a box. You're not going to be able to say he only can perform for this. But all of them people, and how come in them, I'm not attacking him. You talk about a motherfucker can't go in front of you, follow you or whatever. I will go to your show, rip in front of you or behind you, and I will invite you to go to my show, and I will watch you fucking melt. Any more questions about him?
I do gotta ask one. It was more so the critique.
And I ain't supposed to talk about this.
The critique was that it was bad etiquette for you to interrupt them.
Man, fuck etiquette.
Okay.
Yo,
this
is the problem, and I understand that. And that's the punk ass excuse you're gonna make. And the reason why I say it's a punk ass excuse, the way comedy is now, comics are going on stage and engaging the audience, period. They making the audience with crowd work, they making the audience feel comfortable that they can get involved. So me saying something out is not out of the norm of what the climate of comedy is right now. But you saying, I gotta worry about etiquette and being a professional when you got a motherfucker that go on his podcast and say everybody in the industry is sucking dick. He's talking about everybody. Only way you can make it is you take it in the ass or suck a dick, disrespecting. I don't know how y'all gonna bleep this shit, but do it.
Yeah, I'm
just
thinking
telling
about
you.
it
You
in
asked
my
the question.
head.
I'm
Yeah,
answering them, nigga.
No, I get
You asked
it.
me the question.
You right.
I'm supposed to be respectful and pick the right perfect time. Hey, you want to come over here and talk? I have issues with you. You go on your podcast and you air motherfuckers out. You go on your shit. There's no way around this. I'll deal with the repercussions of how this goes. I don't give a fuck. You go and you say out your mouth, Dave Chappelle's openers suck dick. I'm an opener. There's probably one opener that does suck dick, right? It ain't me. You set this out. Everything about you is negative. And then I have to be like, I'm gonna wait. And when that incident did happen, I asked for his number from a friend, right? And that was the one thing that I was gonna apologize about because I know there is a code.
Okay.
That
Yeah,
I
that's
respect
fine.
that. And I'll answer your question truthfully. I did regret that. The reason why I regret it because there's an unwritten rule that comedians are not supposed to heckle comedians. Right. But the thing was, it wasn't a heckle.
Right, I get that.
That's what I'm saying. It wasn't a heckle. It wasn't like, you ain't funny. It was just, and I've been wanting to talk to him. I've been wanting to talk to him in regard to when we were friends where I'm like, yo, why? I'm just wondering why. I've been wanting to talk to him. I'm like, I'm close to this dude. You know the things that you say is a reflection of what I'm trying to say. You know what you're doing. But why, bruh? When everybody you talk about got respect for you.
So there is space for reconciliation.
Ain't no fucking reconciliation.
Why not?
Nigga, why not? The nigga brought my family into the equation.
Okay.
Whatever. I don't give a fuck what y'all think. You talk to me, man. Listen, you want to talk to me? However, talk to me. If you want to crack jokes or whatever or anything, the butt of your joke, whatever say, do it to me. That's like a real, that shit reminded me of movie Scarface. When the nigga was in the car.
Yeah, with Sosa. He's like, I don't do kids.
I don't do kids.
I don't do kids, yeah.
What happened? Bop, bop, bop. Right. And there's no need for it. We weren't that. It wasn't that. Go. I'm finishing. I got to finish that. And I know that you're not supposed to, but that conversation, they caught the end of it. It wasn't about me trying to ruin his set. It wasn't about me upset that he was going on after me. It was, and I was prepared to be triggered. I know I was. My attitude was fucked up because when I'm watching him, all I'm thinking about is all the crazy shit he said. Yeah. You know, and I wanted to talk to him, but I was like, I did 3 shows that night. I didn't want to be there in that 3rd show. I wanted to go home. And when he made his comment, I said, well, I've done 3 movies and I've stayed dick free.
Got you.
Right?
Right.
And then everybody's like, you defended Dave. It wasn't that. I'm just defending like who I am. And you say, oh yeah, comedians, goddamn, I'm still talking about this. Jamie, I swear this is gonna be the last time. It said, the comedian's mad at me because I be speaking the truth. Okay, you speak the truth. And I told him right then, they cut it out, I said, you be speaking the truth. I said, but you be saying some sideways shit. Your truth don't gotta be laced with the messy shit. Dave Chappelle be bombing. If you see Dave Chappelle, how come? If he's ever in the same room with Dave Chappelle, it's because Dave Chappelle is black and he loves his people. And when he goes to pull in on an open mic or whatever, it's not to practice. It's not to give you the shows that he charged $500 a ticket. It's because I want to fucking feel my people. I want my people to know I'm not that distant. You see him on them fucking rooms like that, it's easy for him to say, fuck that, I don't have to do that. Right. But he's doing that to let people know that you can still touch me. And that spectacle of, oh shit, Dave is here.
Right.
You know, that's what it was. Now here's the evilness, but you, as a comedic analyst, you want to sit in the cut and judge a person that's practice.
Right. No, I get it. I understand.
And if you feel that way, like he be bombing, then do this. Why don't you join us on a world tour where we performing for 20 to 25,000 people a night and feel that energy.
And not just there's that, and then there's also the notion of like, yo, people got to work through their sets, period. And that's what anyone who knows comedy
But
knows.
you know what they don't do? But see, people don't know comedy. See, you got what I call the pussy comics, the pussy money comics. And these are guys, every time they go up there, they're afraid to take a chance.
Right.
They just want to rip to get some pussy and get that couple $100. They don't want to take chances. And one thing I'll say, the thing that I respect and I admire about Dave when he works on, when he performs, is that like if you compare me and Dave's style, if you compared to quarterback, I'm more of like a Michael Vick guy. I'm trying to score a touchdown every down. I don't want to pass the ball. I'm going straight down the 2-hole. But if you see Dave is more like a Brady guy. He will go in the pocket. He will look at the whole field, take a hit, bop, touchdown.
So with this, you brought this up about Dave loving his people, and that's something that I do admire about him. One thing that I noticed that has been a conversation in spaces is like, regardless of whether it's the messiness, on other podcasts, it's still, honestly, a bunch of black men attacking each other publicly in an industry where opportunities are already limited.
That's a very interesting point, because this is what I said, and I'm telling you, man, people gonna get mad at me. My advisors, whatever, tell me don't talk about it, but it is part of pop culture. It is where we are now. I wanted to avoid it, but I can't. And this is out of everybody, and we can go to the Club Shay Shay interview with Katt Williams, respect, love him. We can go to all that, but the common denominator with everyone that we speaking of, who was catching strays, whether it was Ricky Smiley, whether it was Cedric the Entertainer, wherever it was, the thing everything that's common with everybody's, they all came from nothing. They all came from the mud. They all came from a dream. They all came from like, I'm gonna get my mama a house.
But that's the part that I don't understand. And as much as you got a lot of white comics that are not funny and they're not catching any strays.
Can I say something? I'm probably get canceled. Now I ain't gonna get canceled. I don't give a fuck. I'll tell you this one thing. Niggas are exhausting.
That is a Bible verse.
I mean, niggas are exhausting.
That is a Bible verse.
They are exhausting. They're crabs.
It's a Bible verse.
They're exhausting. It's like, what more do you want from me?
Right, yeah. What more do you want
me from the
me?
hood or whatever? I'm showing you. I'm the example of what can happen. I'm the example of coming from nothing. Cedric the Entertainer is an example of coming from nothing. Katt Williams, they all. So instead of dogging these people, why can't we celebrate it? Why can't we celebrate it? Because we be on some bullshit. We talk a lot of shit. When it's time to put up, we don't always do it. I said on different podcasts, why isn't Spike Lee one of the most coveted working directors in Hollywood? When everything niggas wanted him to do, he did.
He did, yep.
Let's do stories about black people. Let's have black this, black that. But guess what happens? I'm gonna do all of this, but are you gonna go to the theater? No, I'm gonna go buy it from Abdullah on 125th Street.
Yeah.
Where's the support? Where's the support? And as much as we bitch, why can't we get together? I don't know. But if we did get together, everybody that's bitching about the white man this and the white man that, do your own shit. Invest in yourself. Bet on yourself.
But in the spirit, like when I was just talking, I made the analogy to hip hop. Is it necessarily a bad thing where there is the competition? Because like hip hop is good because it's competitive. You got MCs that go at each other. It makes everyone better. Is that?
It's a positive thing for the individuals involved, but for the community itself, it's not.
Got you.
You know what I'm saying? They're gonna make some money, but you're dividing people. Because I'll give you a perfect example. Katt Williams aired everybody out. Guess what? Ticket sales went crazy. So
Nuts.
It's advantage to him, but what does it do for our community?
I mean, that's a fair
And
question.
eventually, sometimes, you know how long I tried to save the hood? I tried to save every nigga I knew, right? And I was like, this is exhausting. I'll pick one nigga, let's go. I'll let y'all figure it out. Like, you can't. You cannot. You better pick one or two. Everybody, boy, they're going to
wear you out.
First, they're going to wear you out. And then once you get in position, they go, this nigga think he so exhausted.
That's that part.
I need a nap right now and even talk about this shit. Go ahead.
I've been meaning to ask you, man. Your
I like
most,
your segues. Them motherfuckers are fucking evil.
I appreciate that.
Go for it.
It's the TV shit in me.
Yeah.
Your most famous catchphrase, your most famous callback. I'm
Right.
rich, bitch.
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
Well, what a lot of people don't know is that what Dave had a special called Trick Whitey years ago, right? And that was a punchline in one of his jokes. And like when the Chappelle Show first came back, basically it was him with his joke book bringing it to life. So we were in Harlem, and at the time of the show, we didn't have no big Hollywood budget. We was just on a shoestring budget. You know, we wasn't like, okay, we want to work here, and then we're gonna block the streets down. You know, and then we're gonna have all these thousands of extras. It was just like we just went when we could. It was straight guerrilla. I'm driving a truck, right, and I don't even have a driver's license. I was like, man, they're gonna try to kick me out just seeing it. If somebody asked me for a license, I want to tell them. They just assumed I had a license. Ain't nobody say shit.
Nobody asked.
Man, I got their truck, and I had to drive the truck down the street. Don't run the light. It was a hot light. Hit the mark. Little white chick was on the apple box. Don't run her over. Stop, take the key out, because if the key's going, you're gonna hear noises. Go over it and deliver the line. I think I tried that like 7 times, and I was not getting it. And Neil Brennan and them, they were getting upset, right? They were like, they weren't getting upset, but he was like, yo, B, we ain't gonna be doing this all day. We might have to cut this. And I was like, you ain't cutting this. And out of frustration, I said, I'm rich, bitch! And it was like, that's the one.
Wow.
And when we did it, and I didn't know that, what really, really made it pop, because at the vanity card at the end, they always played it at the end. And Dave would always laugh about it, and that's when he put it at the end. And that's when people just love it, man.
Just came.
Yep.
Last one, man. This has been an amazing conversation.
So we ain't gonna talk about BMF.
Nah, I wasn't gonna ask.
We ain't gonna talk about Disney.
I'm not.
We only gonna talk about the show from 20 years ago.
Nah, I'm not.
So Donnell Rawlings,
We're not gonna do
are
that.
you the embodiment of how come right now? You giving me how come energy.
Yo, chill.
You giving me how come?
How so?
Now you gonna hit me?
Nah,
You flexed up.
I'm not flexed
You
up.
mad.
This is how I sit.
We just gonna get off the phone up. Yeah, Corey, he was talking all that old ass shit.
Not at
I know
all.
51, 50s when I say
Not at all. Not at all. You are not gonna make me the ops on my
No,
own show.
I'm not gonna say that.
I was gonna ask, but I was gonna ask. People really, and listen. Let me say this real quick. People really like think that you and Charlamagne got beef. Like I'm not saying that man's name for no beef reason, because I've met him. We kind of know each other, but what's that situation
I would
about?
just say this. There's people that think wrestling is real. There's people that don't think it's real.
Okay.
And guess what you do? You watch
You
it.
watch it. There it is. There it is. This has been an amazing conversation.
What I would like to say, I mean, I know that I just want to say, this is what I want to say in my closing this. If you've been following my career from the Ricky Lake, you know the first TV credit I ever had?
No.
It was People's Court. And what I used to do over in Times Square when Harvey come out, you know how you interview people on the street?
Yeah.
I was like, I gotta get on TV some kind of way, right? You know when he go out there and interview people and they be like, so the plaintiff, so we ask questions.
Yeah.
I used to be the nigga in the background, just acting like I just popped up.
And that was how you got on TV?
I wanted people to see me on TV. And I'll be like, oh man, like I was an innocent bystander. I'll be like I was on 4 episodes. Yo, I knew what time it was gonna come out. And because I was a new jack and people watched the show, it wasn't like I was, they was like this, I saw you on People's Court. That was my first credit. And it wasn't even a credit. I just made it credit. I said, y'all saw me in the background of People's Court. But the point I'm making, a career of 30 years, if you became a fan of mine when I used to do guest spots on Ricky Lake Show, if you're a fan of mine from, I did all the Law and Orders, if you were a fan of mine from HBO's The Corner, which the spinoff was The Wire, if you're a fan of mine from 20s, if you were a fan of mine from Disney Pixar Oscar-winning animation, Soul. Yep. If you were a fan of mine for 2 seasons on BMF, 20s, Winning Time. That's a whole bunch of shit. If you're a fan of any of that, make sure you tune in to New Day on Netflix. And I guarantee you, you'll become a lifetime fan.
And that's what I wanted to ask you. I wanted to ask you, for anybody who hasn't seen it, what would you want them to know? And you just wrapped it up. Right there.
Exactly. I do this too. So all the other stuff, can we scratch that? You can't wait to
Hell no.
already see. I can see the click. I can see it
Hell no.
They're gonna be like this. Donnell goes ballistic.
Yes.
And then I gotta deal with clap back.
Hell no.
And then this nigga got something else to talk about on his show. God damn it. Jamie, I'm sorry. This is the last time.
This has been Charles Coleman. It's the Charles Coleman Podcast with Donnell Rawlings, Ashy Larry, everybody else in the world who he has been and done. Want to thank you for coming on the couch and being yourself, brother. Make sure you check out his special, A New Day, on Netflix. We appreciate you being here, my dude, and fantastic conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. They won't let me get away from it.